The topic for today's discussion is The Nightingale and the Rose, written by Oscar Wilde. Oscar Wilde is an Irish poet, playwright, as well as author of many books. He was born in the year 1854, Dublin, Ireland, on 16th October, and died in the year 1900 on 13th November, when he was 46 years old. His main occupation is writing, especially he is called as one of the best writers during the Victorian age. He is a poet as well as playwright and authored many books during the Victorian era when Queen Victoria ruled the Great Britain. And we can see growth and prosperity in all the fields during this Victorian era, especially in the field of literature. He belongs to the literary movement called aestheticism. The importance of being earnest is his masterpiece. He started studying in Trinity College, Dublin, and he continued his higher education in Magdalen College, Oxford. So this talks about a brief introduction about the short story. This short story was first published in the year 1888 in the anthology called The Happy Prince and Other Tales. The story is set in a beautiful imaginary garden, that is, garden of fantasy. It is full of talking creatures and trees. The major characters of the story are the student, the professor's daughter, and the nightingale. Also, we can see some of the minor characters such as insects, such as butterflies and plants and trees, and lizards, etc. So, next slide, it talks about the theme of the short story. Also, it focuses on the symbols that author has used in this short story. There are 5 important themes that are highlighted here. The first one is materialistic aspect, second fantasy, third sacrificial love, and fourth one talks about relationship, and finally fifth one it's about animal imagery. Let us talk one by one. The materialistic aspect. So the character of the girl, that is the professor's daughter, is depicted as the materialistic aspect of man. So when the story begins like this, the boy, the student who fell in love with the girl, proposed his love for that girl. And at that time, the girl was not ready to accept the love of the boy. Instead, she demanded something from the boy's side. Especially, she asked him to bring some beautiful red rose. It is very rare in nature, and so that a boy started searching for the red rose, and also she made some agreement. If he wants to marry that girl, or if he wants to dance along with the girl, the student, that is the boy character, he has to bring the red rose for her next day. So the boy was very much upset, and he started crying also. And he was thinking about how to get the beautiful red rose. And by seeing the condition of the boy, the nightingale took pity on the boy, and the nightingale was also ready to join hands with the boy in order to search the beautiful red rose. So in order to save the life of the boy, that nightingale was ready to sacrifice the life, and it was ready to give away the life. So we can understand the close relationship between the student and the nightingale, or the close understanding between the student and the bird nightingale. And the second important theme is fantasy. So fantasy refers to the imagination, imaginary thing. So this story, it revolves around the imaginary story, that is the love story between the boy and the girl, the student and the girl. The girl is the daughter of the professor, and also we can see the the love of the boy towards the girl. So it's an imaginary story. We can see so many birds and animals and insects and trees. They started talking among themselves as well as it started talking with the human being. And at one point, that nightingale felt pity on the boy's condition. Also, the other creatures of the nature also felt pity on the boy. And the third important theme is about the sacrificial love of the boy, about the sacrificial love of the nightingale, especially the sacrifice it used, the sacrifice that was done by the nightingale towards the life of the boy. So, in order to save the life of the student, Nightingale decided to sacrifice her life. She decided to die on the thorns of the rose so that she could save the life of the boy, and she would save the life of the boy as well as the love between the boy and the girl. So we can see the sacrifice of the nightingale here. And the fourth important theme is it's about the relationship. There are different types of relationship that takes place in this short story. The relationship between the nightingale and the boy, the relationship between the student and the girl, the relationship between the professor and the student, also the relationship between among the creatures, the living creatures in the garden. So many different types of relationship are depicted in this story. And the fifth important thing is animal imagery. So the story revolves around the animal imagery, and we can see the conversation that takes place between the bird and the human being, the insect and the bird. Okay, so the author clearly brought out the animal imagery here. And next, the important thing is about symbolism. The author has used many symbols, so among them I like to point out some of the symbols such as red rose, second one is jewelry and silk dress, third one is dusty book. So these three important symbols the author has used in the story. So red symbolizes the red rose, it symbolizes the love. So during the Valentine's Day, you could have observed that the lovers, they will exchange the beautiful rose among themselves. So red rose, it symbolizes love among the animal as well as the love among the human being. So the red color, it also symbolizes the sacrifice that was done by the nightingale. The second important symbol that the author has used is jewelry and the silk dress. So it represents the materialistic world in which we are living, especially the girl's character. It revolves around this theme, this symbol, the materialistic aspect of human being. So at one point, that girl was ready to accept the love of a boy who was ready to give jewelry and silk dress, and she rejected the love of the boy who gave the red rose. She didn't realize the true love, she didn't realize the value of the true love. But on the other hand, because of her materialistic aspect, because of her materialistic attitude, she threw that red rose on the street, which was given by the lover. And so the author has very perfectly used the symbol of jewelry and the silk dress. It is a symbolic representation of the materialistic nature of the people around us. And the third important symbol is dusty book. So by seeing the dusty book, we can understand that the boy who neglected the studies, so that it was filled with dust, and he was lagging in his practical knowledge. He was very poor in the understanding of the world. Okay, so his neglect towards the studies. So it's a symbolic representation of lagging of the practical knowledge and the character of the boy, the character of the student. Okay, let's stop here and we'll continue in the next class. Thank you.